But I will not fail without making one mistake, and I don't want to fake, and I won't make that mistake. In speaking about the situation of Mr. Trump and his interests in Nigeria, I will say three things. I thank Mr. Trump for showing interest in Nigeria at all. Because speaking squarely, he can ignore us. We are not that relevant to them. He can ignore us and not speak. And we should not be ungrateful, because he is even more mindful about our situation in what he says. I don't know his heart, but in what he says, is more mindful than some of our leaders who are responsible for our security. Second thing is that we should not be tempted to turn Trump into our own old debates. There is no solution that can come from Trump or anybody that want to help only one section of the country to survive insecurity without helping the other section. It is not possible. Even the Pope cannot do it. To come and rescue Christians in Nigeria and not rescue Muslims or rescue other people. So we must not use the Trump intervention as a basis to litigate our hatred for each other or our old grievances. It should not become a Christian, Muslim, whatever debate. It's an insecurity question. So we must, if anybody wants to come and help us, that methodology means that you want to help every Nigerian. You cannot help one person or the other. It's not practicable. It's not possible. Lastly, our government should be in shape. And they should use that shape to solve the problem. Trump will not come if Mr. President Tinubu says, in the next 30 days, nobody will be killed again. It will take America up to 60 days to put their command everywhere together. In that short period, you can restore order in the country if you want to. But what they are doing now, they are using the security as an excuse to loot all the money. The Nigerian armed forces, the way I know them, they can protect the whole of West Africa if you let them do it. But they cannot protect their own barracks if you say they should not do it. So it is clear that President Tinubu is in the long line of presidents who have turned against the people and used insecurity to siphon money. So it is good that justice is coming to him now, because he was one of those embassies that went to Barack Obama to cry that Goodluck Jonathan was killing the people. Now his judgment has come to the house of Tinubu. And last point, let nobody come and argue about sovereignty too much. Sovereignty is true, but under international law, of which I am a postgraduate in international law, sovereignty that conflicts with international humanitarian law will be ignored. That's why we have the Warsaw Convention and all of that. That's why they tried leaders for war crimes. The fact that you have sovereignty over your people doesn't mean you can kill them as you like or neglect them as you like. And to give a more personal example, where was sovereignty when President Tinubu said he wanted to invade Niger? If he could be dreaming of invading Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso, because they did military coups there, why can somebody not invade him? Because he's neglecting his people. So in conclusion, let us put fire to the feet of our government to protect us. Let us be grateful to international community talking about us. But if we, as I prefer, decide to solve the problem at home, Muslim, Christian, enemies, whatever, we must come together. You cannot deny, if there's no way I can be told to deny that certain communities in Nigeria feel genocided and attacked. Why do I say so? It's a subjective thing. In the last 2 years, I've contributed money to repair, rebuild up to 50 churches. So, I have comforted over 1,000 dead. Go to any of these churches, I've gone there quietly without carrying camera. You can go and ask all the leaders. So it is not today that Trump told me that people are feeling genocided. And I have met with also leaders of certain ethnic groups in certain places. I've had Fulanis telling me that in certain communities, the other groups want to kill them. And they are running after their cattle, roasting their cattle, trying to kill them. So in Nigeria, the question of whether there is genocide or not is not a debate that the government can be discussing. If your people are losing their lives in dozens, you already failed the primary assignment of governance, and we should not waste our time debating the issue. The solution to that problem is that President Tinubu can use the bullet to kill the terrorists or use the pen to resign. Nigeria. There are a few things that I want us to bear in mind. Reform or deform. There is no way to stay static in nature. If you refuse to reform voluntarily, you'll be deformed by the circumstances around. If you listen to Nigerians, we have democratized grievances. So when an ordinary Nigerian who has been praying and working for the fusion of our democracy to come to them, when they start complaining, those who have been in government since 1999 have also learned that they too should start complaining. So if you listen to my learned friend who just left here, Governor Rotimi Amechi, or Minister Rotimi Amechi, or Speaker Rotimi Amechi, or Aspirant Rotimi Amechi, he complained bitterly about why we didn't do reform, why the common people are not trying enough, why all the leftist movement, all the labor movement, all the civil societies have failed. And he's very embittered by that. But I will say that, given our history, we were not supposed to have militant organizations. Those who have had the privilege to preside over the affairs of Nigeria cannot blame Nigerians for not killing them, burning their houses, doing revolution against them. You cannot say because Nigerians happen to be gentle people and we have learned from the lessons of history that we can gradually put pressure on ourselves to be better and that we should not resort to drastic revolutionary measures. That is not enough to say that these institutions have not been working. I salute member of ASU, I salute member of the NLC, and TUC and other labor unions. And I salute the civil society that despite all the years of discouragement, we have not stopped talking. And I think we should not be discouraged by any feeling that whatever you do will not matter. It matters. Coming here today to talk about electoral reform matters because not only do we need electoral reforms, we need reforms in every aspect of our national life. And if we start electoral reform, it's because it is from the electoral system that you will elect other reformers. And if the electoral system that is supreme the reformers itself is not properly reformed, you will not have a system where you're having a still bath of your democracy. What is wrong with our democratic system? Some of it is just a matter of age. If you have a democratic system that has not stayed for long, that has not become part of the culture of the people, you will have certain teaching problems. And if you doubt me, see the challenge in Europe today. Many governments in Europe are not able to form proper administrations. You see how the French are struggling with the electoral system. You see how they are struggling in the UK with their governance system. You see the almighty America having a dictator in a civilian dress testing their system for them. And you see that the government has been shut down in Washington, and they are struggling to keep the offices open. And their civil servants are queuing for food because their salaries have not been paid. What it means is that democracy is one school you will never graduate from. It's one exam you will never pass. If you pass an exam in democracy, it only entitles you to the next exam. So don't be discouraged and say, let's give up. These people will not give us the reform we need. We will get the reform. Even where we are today, you can go and ask Sheikh Sonny and many of those who survive to hold a microphone and be talking about democracy will get you thoroughly arrested. You will get you imprisoned. You can ask Prof.Mgbeke, you can ask many of those who are surprised today that they are alive. It shows to you that many things that were not possible in the past have become possible. I, growing up in Nigeria in the 90s, I have my friend here, Mr. Salah Zalani. We both were sure, 99%, that I will not do a 30th birthday. If anybody told me that I would be 30 years old, I didn't believe it, because I thought that we were going to die fighting the military. So there's no point, even when I was at university, I was just thinking, what's the point in studying anyway? We are going to die. Because this military will not leave, I will not leave them alone, and all of us will die. But in 1998, Salami Abubakar came, and the military changed their mind and said they were leaving. And we have done 26 years. The only mistake we have made is that we have become too comfortable. We believe that if we just keep our democracy going, or our civil rule, which we call democracy, if we keep going, that in itself is enough achievement. But what today is telling us is that democracy must have meaning in the life of the people. And for democracy to have meaning, it must be played in such a way that the politics is clean, and that the politics is fair, and that the politics is predictable, that if you are popular with the people, you will win the election. And if you win the election, you have to govern according to the wish of the people. If you don't, you will lose the next election. Now, there are 5 issues I will mention, and I will not elaborate. If you need further questions, I will answer them later. 1, people are using politics to define Nigeria. Nobody is satisfied with their lot in the country. So every election we are using it to solve existential problems. So Dr. Fagbon that is here now, he is here because he doesn't like the constitution we have. He doesn't like the distance between us, it's too close. If you give him confederation, he'll be very happy. So there is nothing you do. If you don't give him that, he is not successful. Second, we have a political class that don't know anything about governance. But they know that if you are in government will pay your bills. You won't suffer. So politics is their own escape from poverty and underdevelopment. So they must be playing the politics of the incumbency forever. And when you mention electoral reform, it's like you want to remove the social safety nets from them, because they must continuously be in government. The third problem we are facing is that we have a restless generation that has been denied every benefit of citizenship. No economic participation, no social welfare, no employment, no freedom, and the election is the means by which we will resolve this problem. But some of them, what do they do? They believe that, well, during the election time, at least these politicians will need me. So whatever they give me, I will collect from them. And they don't want to come forward to push. The fourth problem we have is the problem of sentiments that have no bearing on governance. Anytime we sit down in a seminar like this, people are talking about Nigeria's problem, they will be eloquent about it. But when we start our politics, it is sentiment we use to do our politics. It is the turn of the south. The sun rises from the east, so it should set in the west. And all these geography lessons. And then we go to religion. The president is Muslim, the Christian must be fired, all sorts of things. And every election season, it becomes that. Then the last problem we have, which is the one I think we should pay attention to. People want to be in a good country without being good citizens. So we are good at pointing at the act of another person, not our own. So when we run political party, Dantale is here, he knows everything about political parties. Next to him is another genius of political party, Tanko. You know, sir. And then you have the big baby of Nigerian politics, Peter Ahmed. Everybody here knows about politics. The political parties are the worst mistakes you can make. So we need to now build strong political parties, reform the political parties before you can reform INEC. Because you can't do politics without joining political parties. And if political parties don't have principles, that is the factory from which you train leaders. So as we are working towards electoral reform, I will conclude by saying it is good to look at INEC, but INEC is not 100% of electoral reform. And the cards is out of the bag. Because they have already appointed the man who is going to be in charge of the election for the next 5 years. And they have had their discussion inside the bedroom. We didn't know what they discussed. So anything you are saying now about electoral reform, it is just too late. You can hope that Mr. or Professor Mgbeke will listen to you, and he will listen to what his mother and grandmother told him about doing good when you have the opportunity. Thank you.